Over the years, so many people have grown to love Attack on Titan, and how can they not? It's probably the best anime out there. The mystery, the suspense, the revelations, the plot twists, it's all absolutely amazing. But if I tell you that all these big revelations were hinted at in the show since the very start, would you believe it? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, we'll talk about 16 things you missed in Attack on Titan. By the way, this video is full of spoilers, so if you aren't up to date with the anime, I recommend you go get that done, then come back to this video. Eren's Titan abilities. One of the first huge revelations of the anime was Eren being a Titan. But you know what? It was hinted at way before we found out. I'm sure you remember that scene during military training when Eren fell down and hit his head trying to use the vertical maneuvering gear. When his head was injured, if you look closely, you would have noticed there was steam coming out of his head. Now, even if you have noticed it, you probably wouldn't have thought that much into it at the time. I know I didn't. I just thought it was random anime stuff. But now I realize that with Attack on Titan, nothing is random. And that scene was obviously a hint towards Eren's Titan powers. Eren's dream. Well, the steam out of his head wasn't the only hint towards his Titan abilities. When the show opens, the first actual scene we see is Eren's dream. In the beginning, there wasn't much we could tell from the dream, and even Eren doesn't seem to remember what he saw. But if you take a closer look at those scenes and slow them down, you'll notice the whole end of the first episode was there. You can see flashes of the Colossal Titan breaking the wall, the Titan eating Eren's mom, and the whole attack on Shiganshina. That is also a hint towards Eren being the Attack Titan, considering he has the ability to see memories from both the past and the future. Reiner and Bertolt being Titans. Eren wasn't the only one who turned out to be a Titan. The bigger plot twist was Reiner and Bertolt being the armored and colossal Titans. I mean, I don't know about you, but that reveal had me mind blown. Anyway, even that was hinted at way before we actually found out. When Eren and Armin are new at the military school, they are talking about the attack on Shiganshina, more importantly, the colossal and armored Titans. During that scene, Reiner and Bertolt are listening in on the conversation quite intently, and when Eren starts talking about the armored Titan in particular, you can see Reiner giving it special attention. At the same time, it probably wouldn't have meant anything, but look at it now, and it all makes sense. Another major hint was back in Season 2 at Utgard Castle, when Ymir transformed into a Titan. The warriors didn't know what to expect, and they were prepared to turn into Titans to fight her. In this scene, you can catch Bertolt preparing to bite his hand. Pretty cool foreshadowing if you ask me. Historia being the queen. The Titan abilities weren't the only thing they dropped hints for. What about Historia being the princess of Paradise Island? That was a shock too, right? I mean, we probably never would have suspected she would turn out to be a princess. But now, if you look back on the show, you can find hints to that as well. They aren't very obvious hints, but they're there. Notice, since the start, how her friends and even complete strangers treat her in a special way, like she's some sort of a goddess. If you look back at the old episodes, I'm sure you'll understand what I'm talking about. After all, in Attack on Titan, every small detail has a meaning. Existence of Marley. Now, we know all about Marley and how they unleash the Eldians as Titans on Paradise Island. But what if I told you there was a hint to that in the very first episode? Well, go back and look at the title card of the very first episode, and you can literally see the nation of Marley and even the wall they used to create Titans and send them off to the island. I bet you didn't notice that. Reiner's big reveal. That wasn't the only hint we got about the existence of Marley though. Remember the big reveal scene of Reiner and Bertolt being Titans? Who am I kidding? Of course you remember. Well, in that scene, Reiner gives a speech and says some things that didn't make any sense at all back then. Things like how he had been here for 3 years and how he has to fulfill his duty as a warrior. At that time, it didn't make any sense. Even Eren and everyone else didn't get what he was talking about.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
But knowing about Marley, it all makes sense. I am strongly urging you to go back and watch these episodes again. You'll be surprised. Grisha's photograph. But wait, there are more hints we got that a more advanced nation existed outside the island. Remember the photograph Grisha left in his basement? Everyone was shocked that the technology that advanced existed outside the walls. But here's a fact. The syringe was invented 30 years after the first ever photograph was taken. And we've been seeing syringes since the very start. I mean, I think we've established nothing about Attack on Titan happened without a plan. So it wasn't a mistake. It's actually a huge spoiler if you think about it now. We thought the photograph was shocking because it was way beyond anything that existed on Paradise. But a more advanced technology already existed on the island. We already knew there was something out there. Ymir's backstory. Alright, I know there are many of these, but there's another hint to people existing outside the island. We know Ymir lives in Marley before coming to the island. There, a group of people actually worshipped her, and when the Marleyans found out, they turned her into a Titan and sent her to the island, much like they did with many Eldians. At that time, it was all confusing, but looking back at it now, it was clearly hints that people existed outside of Paradise. Levi's drinking style. How can we talk about Attack on Titan and not have any mention of Levi? Well, here's a little detail about him that you probably didn't know. Have you noticed he holds his teacups in a weird way from the top? Well, again, you might think it's random, but this anime is never random. Back when Levi lived in the underground, he bought himself a cup of black tea after saving up money. However, as soon as he held the cup, the handle broke and the tea ended up falling all over the floor. Well, that definitely left some serious effects, because after that, Levi stopped using cup handles and held his cup from the top instead. Armin's name. I think that there's a lot of hints you missed to the plot, but that's not all. There are some other small details many missed. Even though Armin's name seems pretty basic, it actually has a lot of meanings. In German, the word has multiple meanings, like universal, whole, or even warrior. They all somehow relate to this character, right? Erwin's name. Armin's name isn't the only one with a deeper meaning. You might know this if you really follow the show everywhere on social media, but in case you don't, Erwin was named after a pretty famous historical figure. Erwin Rommel was a famous German general and military theorist who served during the Second World War. Much like Erwin from the anime, he was popular for his spectacular victories. It makes sense why Erwin would be named after him. Mikasa's name. With Attack on Titan, it's like every little detail has a story behind it. That being said, even Mikasa's name has a story. A famous Japanese warship back in the 1890s was named Mikasa, and that's where Hajime Isayama, the creator of Attack on Titan, got the inspiration to name her. For some reason, he believed a manga, or anime, will become successful if you name a female character after a famous warship. I mean, even though it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, it did work out, didn't it? Annie's hair. Besides name, the inspiration for different character appearances was also taken from famous people. You probably wouldn't have noticed this, but Annie's hairstyle was completely copied from a picture of the famous musician Avril Lavigne. It doesn't mean Annie was in any way similar to Avril, but it's a random fact you probably didn't know. Adult Eren in the first season. Sometime during the war for Paradise Island, Eren and Zeke finally get in contact with each other, and they successfully activate the Founding Titan's powers. Zeke then takes Eren to his memories when he was a kid. When people read this chapter, a lot of them started sharing moments from Season 1, where there is apparently an adult version of Eren in some of the scenes. Keep in mind that this might not actually be Eren, since it was never officially confirmed. Anyway, I had to mention it since it's a very interesting detail. City in Germany. Even the city in Attack on Titan was inspired by a real place. The whole show's setting is based on the city of Nordlingen in Germany, which has walls surrounding it. If you live in Germany, you might have made the connection, but I don't think anyone really did. Grisha's Patriots. Near the end of Season 3, in the flashbacks, we see that Dina Fritz and some of Grisha's friends were turned into Titans. Do these Titans seem familiar to you? Well, they should, since it's the same group of Titans that attacked Eren's squad back in Season 1. One of these Titans was actually the Titan that swallowed Eren, and others ate some of his squad members, or just randomly appeared throughout the city. Well, that's it for today, guys. I strongly suggest you give this anime a re-watch, and you'll probably be surprised by how many things you didn't notice. It's crazy. Anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and we will see you guys very soon in one of our next videos.